You can sense the intensity as they await the arrival of the Tennessee team here at Neyland Stadium. The number one undefeated Volunteers prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
What's up, Vol fans? What's up, SEC fans? What's up, college football fans? Bobby C here, a.k.a. Catfish, and we're bringing you another episode of the Volunteer Roadshow. Sorry I didn't make it on yesterday. I was sick, but I've got it going today, and I'm going to start something new. Anybody wants to call in, I got Couch Coach on with us, but we're going to be kind of like your therapist. Is there anything that just irks you, upsets you, you don't like a play call, a rule, anything like that? The phone lines are open, 855-489-7623. You can call in and voice your opinion. But before we start taking some calls, I was hoping this could be an opportunity for us to gloat a little bit about how well we've been doing on our betting, Couch Coach, but we didn't do too good this week. How did we do exactly? You kept track of it, so tell us how we did.
Well, overall, let's just focus on the overall record, shall we? And first off, is my volume coming through good for everybody?
Very good for me.
Excellent. Sounds great. So overall, here's your record, Catfish. You're doing pretty well this year so far. And like I said, I've noticed that when my teams do bad, I tend to do really well with my picks. So this might be the case for you this season. But if you're looking at against the line and straight up, you are 7-3 over the course of the last 3 weeks. So that's at 70%. So that's pretty freaking good, sir. My straight up
I'm a genius.
Have been 9. My straight up picks have been 9-2, but against the spread, I'm 6-5. So I took a pretty good, tumble last week at 1-3 on my picks. I was 1-1 the week before, and then I think I was 4-1 or something like that the week before that. So I got to stay off those over and unders. They've been kind of kicking my butt here lately. I was really hoping that Alabama could find a kicker and actually hit that over on the 71, but it was not to be. So it was what it was. But the only thing I did well last week evidently was on the under, the under on the Ohio State TCU game. So Delusional Paul can come in here and cry about that, and one of his things that he's irked about this week. But overall, we're still doing pretty good. We'll see how it goes coming into these separation Saturdays that we have going on in September and especially October of this year.
Well, I don't want to gloat or anything. Well, I guess I do want to gloat. We were right about taking TCU, weren't we?
We were barely right, but barely right's better than being completely wrong. So we were very close. I think the line was 12.5 or 13, and we hit like a 12 or something. So I really thought that I was about to go 0-4 for the weekend. Our good friend Rover Sports had a little rough weekend from the picks that he made on our show. He went 0-4 against the spread and 2-2 straight up. So I don't know what that really means for us, but so far we seem to be doing okay. I would like to get my against the spread picks up a little bit since that's where you make your money, right? So hopefully I can turn my luck around this weekend.
Well, I do know that if you go to Vegas and you make the cover by 1 point or you're really, really right, they give you the same amount of money. So it doesn't really matter that we were right by 0.5 point. We were right. They covered. We were wrong about the over, but we were just barely wrong. What was the score in that? The over-under was, 59-60?
The over and under in the Alabama game, which I was shooting for, you didn't play that one, but you took the side in that one, so you were right. But I took the over and under in that game, and I think it was like 71 was the over and under, and Alabama was like at 69 or something like that before they called off the Dogs. But that missed field goal or a couple other. I really was hoping for Ole Miss to at least score one more touchdown. They just couldn't that just didn't work out that way. So it is what it is, you just have to man up and take it on the chin there. But really the biggest disappointment for me this weekend was Auburn. That was really a bad loss. I was really confident that they were going to cover at 10. It looked like they were about to run away with it there in the third quarter. And, boy, I just don't know what happened with that team in the fourth quarter. It's just like they just kind of hit a wall, and LSU made the plays they needed to make. And, hey, I mean, is LSU for real? I mean, they've beaten Miami and they've beaten Auburn, 2 ranked teams. They're 3-0. They're feeling pretty good, and I'm seeing all of these LSU fans coming out of the woodwork all of a sudden. So what do you think about that?
Well, before I answer that, because I do have an opinion about that, I'm going to do my shout-out route. I'm going to try to shout out people that are at least commenting. I know there's a lot more watching than actually comment. So I gave Ryan Schrick a nickname on my post game, Delusional Ryan. I think I'm going to change that. We can't have 2 delusional people, so maybe until somebody comes up with a better nickname. Crazy Ryan is in the house. The Vol General, y'all go check him out and sub him up. SEC Football Tube, check him out, sub him up. Let's see who else is in here. Space Mountain, he's a Gator fan. SEC Dog, he says, hey, Catfish, forget the line. Y'all going to beat Florida, I promise you that. I'd say SEC Dog, besides you, he's probably the only other genius Georgia fan I know. So you're right on the money, SEC Dog. TN Vol 09er. TN Vol 09er, you got selected for the comment of the week last week. So you email me your name and address to volunteerroadshow@gmail.com, and I'll send you a Tennessee Tiki Totem. So we've been giving those away. Andrew Odom's on here. Let's see. I believe that's all that's commenting. John Neal, he's been following me a long time. And Emory Morgan. I wouldn't put Emory Morgan in the genius Georgia fan category quite yet, but he does love the show, so he's getting there. So Emory, I'm glad you're on here. You followed me since last year. But anyway, here's my opinion about LSU. I thought it was a fluke when they beat Miami, and I said, well, let's see how they do against Auburn. We both took Auburn.
We did.
I think they might be for real. I think all they really need with that great defense is a game manager at quarterback. That's exactly what they have, as a game manager, unless he has a lot of maturation like Fromm did. I seen him grow over the season last year. So I think they're for real. I'm going to put my money on they're for real. They're not Alabama for real. They're not Georgia for real. But they're in the upper, lower, middle tier of the SEC, and they may climb that ladder the more they play. Who knows? I know a lot of people in LSU either love Orgeron or they hate him. I think he's a great personality. I just don't think he's a good coach.
Yeah, well, both you and I, when we started our preseason picks, I think we were both very surprised by how low everyone was on LSU. Like, everyone was saying that LSU could be 7-5, 6-6, even 5-7 with that schedule. And I was looking at their talent and, like, guys, like, where are you basing this off of? Like, LSU, like, even last year, because I know a lot of people are looking at that Troy loss. I know a lot of people were looking at, a lot of things that happened to them in September, that blowout loss to Mississippi State last year, but they still finished 9-4. So, you and I both thought that, hey, this team could still win 9-10 games this year. I mean, that's not outside the realm, and I still think they can do that.
But I didn't think they were going to beat Miami and Auburn good. I didn't think they were that good, though. And you got to admit, they probably surprised you there, too.
Well, they surprised me on the Auburn one. But, you and I talked about Auburn, how they're just a very schizophrenic team. And that is, I got to tell you, that is a bad loss for Auburn. I mean, they really needed that win against LSU going into SEC West play. They got to play Alabama. They got to play Mississippi State on the road. They have to play Georgia on the road. They have to play Texas A&M. I mean, those are really 4 tough games coming up, and I just think that they are really going to be behind the 8 ball. I have a hard time seeing them get over 9-3 with that kind of schedule coming up, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, I don't really want to take this show today down a lot of analysis. Texas A&M has surprised me. Of course, they haven't played anybody else to to really see if it was a fluke. But I wanted to go back down the list. Vol Rising is in the house. Go check him out. Clemson J1's in the house. Glad to have you. I believe I've seen you in here a couple times. Vol Advocate, my buddy Danny says, hey, Catfish, we're going to win that game against the Gators Saturday. Love you, Catfish. All right, I agree with you. But I wanted to take this midweek show I have a mentor in the media business, and I'm not fooling myself enough to think that I'm in the media, but he's somebody that I've always aspired to be. God rest his soul. Papa Joe Chevalier. He was on the Sporting News Channel that I used to listen to in the early 2000s, and he had a midweek show called Bite Me Wednesday, where you could call in and voice your displeasure with a rule, a call, a player, a play call by your coach, and you get to vent all your displeasure and in your call with Bite Me to whoever you direct it at. And I'm going to give you all the opportunity for anybody that wants that has anything they want to vent about. It could be NFL, it could be Major League Baseball, it could be anything. But you can call the show at 855-489-7623. And I guess, I don't know, do you have anything that really irked you over the week about sports that you would like to give a bite me to, Couch Coach?
Yes, I do. I would like to give a nice big bite me to Greg McGarity and the Georgia athletic department right now. I saw the schedules for 2019 for the University of Georgia football, and I about wanted to throat punch Greg McGarity for this idiotic, stupid-looking schedule that we have coming in next year. Now, keep in mind that regardless, we're going to have a very good team, right? But from what I've learned about our schedule going into 2019, there are 3 teams that have bye weeks before us. So we have South Carolina that has a bye week before us, Missouri that has a bye week before us, and Auburn that has a bye week before us. Missouri and Auburn have those bye weeks and back-to-back weeks before they play us. Now, instead of just putting together a normal schedule like a competent athletic director would do, here's what he did. He has us opening at Vanderbilt next year, which why would we open with Vanderbilt? So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're playing Notre Dame like 4th game of the year in our place. Fine. But why don't we play Notre Dame 1st game of the year or 2nd game of the year like we did 2 years ago? Again, makes no sense. And then end of the year, we have Auburn and TCU. I'm sorry, not TCU, Texas A&M in back-to-back weeks in November. Okay, so we're playing Florida and Jacksonville. We're having to play Auburn in Auburn, and then we're going to have to play Texas A&M at home. Now, we got to figure that Texas A&M is going to get better next year. Got to figure Florida is going to get better next year. Got to figure that Auburn is going to still be tough in their place, but who knows? So I'm asking myself, is this a championship-level schedule that anyone would try to put together? Like, what part of their brain was – so I'm really aggravated. Now, maybe we get through it fine because we were just absolutely more talented than everybody else, but I'm really aggravated. I think McGarity, you're screwing up right now. You got your big ears and that dopey face of yours. I don't like you anyway. So that's my, bite me for the day.
Well, he did, I think, his biggest mistake because, you got your bye week the week before you play us, right? And then I see that right when you posted on Facebook.
Well, we have 2 bye weeks, and every team has 2 bye weeks next year, which I guess this is different. Is it different than it's been this year? Because my understanding is we only have – well, I guess we have 2 bye weeks normal, right? Is that correct?
I'm not sure. I need to look at the
Does
schedule.
Every team has – well, anyway, we definitely have 2 bye weeks next year, and one of them's for Tennessee and then one of them's for Florida. Now, we always get the one before Florida because we just kind of coincide that with fall break and everything else.
Yeah.
But – the Tennessee one just doesn't make any sense to me. I would much rather prefer that we had a schedule like we had in 2017 where we said we play like a Texas A&M like 4th game of the year. And then maybe we play like now I do like the fact that we're playing South Carolina in October and things like that. But, like 2 years ago, again, we had I think Notre Dame, 2nd game of the year, Mississippi State, 4th game of the year at home. Then we played Tennessee on the road. And then we played Florida, Jacksonville. And then we kind of finished out with South Carolina later in the year and Auburn later in the year. To me, that's a more conducive schedule to try to go 12-0, make a big push. And we could still do that again next year. I mean, I'm not doubting that. If Kirby ain't worried about it, hey, I mean, he's the one that's getting paid millions of dollars. But I'm not pleased with that schedule just as a fan.
Well, I guess you could end your rant with McGarity, you could bite me, and then I'll go into my bite me. How's that?
McGarity can absolutely bite me. So next topic.
All right. Before I tell you my bite me, is Shane Bentley's in the house. I don't know if I mentioned him. Blackhawk Central's in here. Let's see. Who else is in here? Oh, Big Dog Brett is in the house. Y'all need to go check him out. You hit his little icon and it says go to channel and then subscribe to his channel. I talked to him on the phone yesterday. He's a Georgia fan, but he's got a YouTube channel he's trying to grow. So y'all go help him out. Tell him Catfish sent you. Here's my bite me. My bite me is not college football. It has to do with the NFL. How are we still ending games in ties? I believe we've had 2 already this year. I believe the Browns and Pittsburgh ended in a tie, and Vikings and who just ended a tie this past week? I can't remember. Was it the Vikings, Packers?
Yeah, I think Cleveland and Pittsburgh, I know, ended in a tie the week before. Yeah, and I think it's like Minnesota and Green Bay or something like that had a tie.
How are we, I mean, I don't propose they go and do the college deal where you get line up at 25 and you play till somebody wins. I do like that there was a change. I didn't like the idea of a game ending based upon a coin flip without the other person, but there's got to be a way you can keep a game from ending in a tie, because it hurts us gamblers a little bit. I don't like games ending in tie. There's got to be a way. So Roger Goodell, you can bite me. Well, we're going to go to the phones and see Austin Newsom's in here. My cousin Deb Marie's in here. Lego on Fuego's in here. Go check out Lego. He just put up a new YouTube video, pretty good. But we're gonna go to Ryan Schrick. Crazy Ryan is on the phone. Do you have anybody you want to say bite me to in the sports world besides me?
Not really, because right now, believe it or not, I'm not here to bust your chops about Tennessee, Florida.
What about Dan Mullen? You don't want to tell him. You don't want to tell him to bite you for all that crazy play calling. All right.
Nope. I'm here to talk actually about the NFL a little bit. So
well, let's hear it.
My dad is originally from Kansas City, Missouri, so he's always been a Chiefs fan, and that's kind of just passed on to me. I got the NFL side. I didn't get the college side of him passing it on to me. And so I'm a Chiefs fan, and this is the first time I've actually been excited to, be a Chiefs fan in a while.
Yeah, they're playing some good ball. How do you like your new quarterback?
I was doubtful when we traded Alex Smith first because, he was our franchise quarterback forever. But now that I see how good Patrick Mahomes is playing right now, where he, by the way, beat Peyton Manning's record for most touchdowns in the first 2 games starting as a quarterback. He threw 10 touchdowns in the first 2 games.
Okay.
So he's
and what's your
looking
point?
really good.
Are you trying to say he's Peyton Manning? We're not ready to go there, are we?
No, I'm trying to say that he's already in the record book.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't have but a few minutes to go over in this show, so we couldn't list all of Manning's records. But yeah, Kansas City. Yeah. I don't live too far from them. I got a lot of friends that are Kansas City fans. I was very doubtful in the quarterback change, but it's turning out to be pretty good. Where do you predict they'll end up? Are they going to win the AFC West?
I have them and the Jaguars in the AFC Championship game.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Jaguars smoked the Patriots this weekend.
They did. I couldn't believe that. There was a lot of people lost some money on that game. I didn't get to watch it. Was it just because Jacksonville was really good, or was the Patriots?
Jacksonville's defense absolutely suffocated Brady.
Really?
Like, he couldn't do anything.
This might be Brady's last year if he gets knocked around. Alan V's in the house. Ray Gardner's in the house. Well, what else you got, Crazy Ryan? It's a little early to trash talk about
so
the weekend, but you can give a good, honest opinion if you'd like.
I'll give you how this. I'll give you my opinion, my not completely screaming opinion, and you can give me your probably completely screaming opinion.
Okay.
Afterwards. So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say that because Tennessee's defense is mostly freshmen and underclassmen, that Felipe will start off slow throwing the ball like he did last week against Colorado State, very slow, making a lot of mistakes. And then second quarter and on, he's going to find a rhythm, and he's going to just find open receivers and open routes, short routes, get yards after yards, long sustained drives, have a lot of possession time, and just wear out your tired and young secondary.
So what do you got for a prediction on the score?
My prediction, I've said this forever, I'm saying 31-24 Florida.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your ever-loving mind. There ain't no way that you're going to score that many points. Well, after what I watched, did you watch the Kentucky game? You must not have, or you wouldn't be saying that. Did you watch that? Y'all couldn't move the ball.
Prediction?
Well, I think we're going to win 21-17. I mean, I don't think either of us is going to score any points, but we're going to have 250 yards. Mark this down. 250 yards. Couch Coach, write that down on my predictions for next week. We're going to have 250 yards of rushing against your Gators. Your Gators are a shambles of what they used to be. We're both fighting to get back to respectability, and I think Tennessee gets back there before Florida does.
Okay, I'm also going to say this. Big loss for Florida again. We lost our speedy running back, Malik Davis. Big loss, but also our starting middle linebacker who led the team with tackles last year with like 100-plus tackles, David Reese. He's expected to be back for the Tennessee game. So that's a bad and a good.
Oh, me. Well, I'm making a video, and I should have it up tomorrow. I tell you what, it's going to be epic. I even have sponsors for just this game. I've been getting some sponsors. I've got some sponsors lined up for this game. It's just going to be fantastic. So you be watching sometime by tomorrow afternoon. I wanted to have it done by today, but I was sick yesterday, so please forgive me. But Florida, another 4-7 or 4-8 season is on the horizon for you. But I got another caller, Crazy Ryan. You're more than welcome to call the show.
Head on out.
And I appreciate you following me, but I'm gonna grab this other call. So, thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Well, what do you think, Couch Coach? Can you believe that he said that they were going to score 35 points on us? That's just crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how 30 points is going to come for either of those offenses, but who knows? Crazier things have happened.
Yeah. Anyway, see Jimmy Lovelace in here, Alan V's in here, Lee Smith is in here. I think I got everybody, but we're going to go to the phones and see what do we got and who do we have for Catfish and Couch Coach. Do you have any bite me's you want to give to anybody in the sports world?
No, not really, Catfish. How you doing? This is the Ball General.
Hey, Ball General, what you got?
Well, I just wanted to talk about the Florida game. My biggest concern going into this game was the offensive line. Obviously, that's most Tennessee fans' biggest concern. And I commented on Big Ball Daddy's video in Vol Rising. He told me to check out Florida's offensive line because I haven't really watched many Florida games this year. So I will go and check out a few highlights of Florida's offensive line, and I realized, hey, there is not much separation between our offensive line and Florida's offensive line, run blocking and pass blocking. So what I realized was our biggest concern was also their biggest concern. I talked to a friend of mine. He's a Florida Gators fan, and when I asked him who his biggest concern is, he said it was the offensive line. So what I've realized was if our offensive line has a bad day, it's not the end of the world because the offensive line on the other end isn't much better. Garantano does not get enough time to throw the ball. Neither will Florida, Felipe Franks on the other end. So as a result, I think this is going to be a really low-scoring game. Is some rain in the forecast looking like it? That might slow down the offenses. So my prediction is 24-17, Tennessee winning this one. What do you think, Catfish?
Well, I have them 21-17. I think a lot of your analysis is on the money. I think if our defensive line can get to Franks, that'll negate some of our inexperience in the secondary because we're pretty young back there. And I see in the comments section, Ray Gardner says he wants to hear me talk to Lance. Lance has the phone number to the show. He's more than welcome to call in anytime, but he still thinks Florida can win the SEC championship. I think that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. He says he believes it. I heard him on the Uncle Lou show. I heard him on his show, and he's got the number. I've given him the number to the show, so he's more than welcome to call in. Herbert Bradford's in the house. But anyway, I think you're right. I think a lot of it's going to depend on us being able to get to Franks. I think that's going to be the ball game. If we can keep them under 20 points, I think we're going to win it because I am not worried at all about our quarterback. I'm not worried about our running backs. Man, we got some running backs. I mean, we're not Georgia good at running back, but we've got some running backs.
Yeah, definitely. You got true freshman Jeremy Banks. He had an outstanding, exceptional game versus ETSU. He had an okay game versus UTEP. But and then you got a graduate transfer from Michigan State, Madre, another great running back. And then you got your starter, Tim Jordan. What can I say about him? Great running back, star running back, all-around great player. But before I get off of here and let you get some more calls, Catfish, I do have a question for the Florida fans that might be watching this.
Mm-hmm.
News came out, I think it was Monday, that Malik Davis is injured. He will not be playing. He is a running back. He will not be playing versus Tennessee. Right now he's ruled out indefinitely, but we'll see. But my question for the Florida fans, how big of a loss is that? From what I've heard from them so far, one said he was their second string. One said they were his third. That he was their third string. So I'm not really sure about that. The question I have for the Florida fans: how big of a loss is Malik Davis, and how might you think that might change the outcome of the football game? And if you could answer that, Cat.
I'm gonna answer it the way Lance from Jasper would answer it. Before the ball game, it doesn't matter. We're Florida, by God. It ain't gonna hurt us. And after the game, we lost because of he wasn't in the game. So that's how Lance would answer it. So I'm gonna stick to that way for answering it. I don't really know that much about the kid, but the phone lines are open, 855-489-7623. Anybody want to vent about their team? And I'm going to chat with Couch Coach here for a minute. What do you think about, I saw something, a headline not long ago about, is this run Alabama's been on good or bad for college football? What do you think?
Well, look, Alabama has been having these kind of runs for, a decade now, and this conversation always comes up when they dominate, right? I know 2 years ago especially, with the defense that Alabama had, I think that they were getting something like plus 13, or I wouldn't even say it was like plus 18 in turnovers or something ridiculous. They had a ridiculous defense in 2016, and I made mention of the fact that, look, if Alabama keeps winning like this, A, it's bad for football, college football, and B, Nick Saban needs to take this game to the NFL. Seriously, if it's this easy for you, you need to go to another level. Now, I said that before the Clemson game, and Clemson ended up beating them, right? So, last year at this time, too, it was kind of the same deal. I mean, Alabama beat Ole Miss, I think 66-3 or something. They got called out by Vanderbilt and went up there and just absolutely demolished them 59-0. At this point last year, and especially going into October, it absolutely looked like that Georgia and Alabama were on a collision course for the SEC championship. Now, that eventually did happen in the national championship, but I think if you ask every single college football fan in the nation, it was kind of a similar deal between Alabama and Georgia, like it used to be with Alabama and LSU a few years back, where they were kind of sending messages to each other, like one team would win by 30, the other team would win by 31. So you had a lot of that kind of going on, but is it bad for football? I just have a hard time gauging that. I think what I did see with the Alabama-Clemson game 2 years ago was the ratings were down, A, because it was a Monday night, and 2, because it was a rematch with Alabama and Clemson. Now, a lot of people felt that would be the same way with an all-SEC matchup last year, and that proved to not be the case. I think there was enough interest between Alabama and Georgia to see what would happen there. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think? It doesn't seem like it's hurting the overall product, I guess is what I'm saying.
I think it's horrible for college football, but I'll take Nick Saban, and I wouldn't think that if he was our coach. I don't know. I think it's probably good for college football because it's getting a lot of – I know that everybody's tired of hearing about how good Alabama is, but I tell you what, it raised the bar of a lot of schools that know that they have to go undefeated to even be considered to go to the championship, or one loss at the most. So it's kind of raised the bar. It's kind of put a lot of eyes on college football because really we've never seen this kind of dominance in our lifetime that we've seen in Alabama.
No.
And I don't know that we ever will. I don't know that we ever will again. Of course, if it happens once, it can happen again. But Nick Saban has done a great job. I hate it. I hate Nick Saban, but I'd hire him in a second. I think he's a phenomenal coach. And somebody just brought something up that's kind of a little off topic, but I want to give a big old shout out. Let me see if I can find it here. Adam Bumgarner says that Tennessee grabbed everybody had Josiah James, a basketball player, going to he's a 5-star guard going to Clemson. We grabbed him. We're already starting out everybody's preseason rankings in the top 4. We're on the rise in basketball. I mean, that's about all I have to hang my hat on for right now, but that was a great pickup by Rick Barnes in Tennessee to grab Josiah James, a great player. But anyway, what about this call? Somebody said that there was a fake punt, fair catch. What exactly happened? And they're already talking about a rules change. Have you heard anything about that in the Arkansas-North Texas game?
I did, and I actually saw it, and I guess, because he didn't officially wave it off, it looked like he waved it off, but I think a lot of the Arkansas defender or the punt team coverage, they fought that, and then the guy just kind of made a couple steps and then ran around the corner to the left and scored a touchdown. And so, but I think the argument was, did he really wave his hand or what did he do there? And so I'm not really sure about the rule change. I haven't heard anything about that, but I did see that highlight this weekend, and it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I read an article saying that they're afraid that after that play that people are going to, unless it's a clear-cut fair catch, they're going to be running until they hear a whistle and somebody could get hurt. And I don't know. I think that if you didn't see it and you assumed it, how do they say you spell assume? You kind of make an ass out of you and me. If you assume and you took for granted that he called the fair catch and you didn't see it, I think that's yay for North Texas. That's the way I look at it. I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if we got any more bite me callers here.
Well, if we don't, I'm going to get off of here because it is hot. It's hotter than a firecracker in this truck. So anybody wants to call, 855-489-7623. I don't think we have anything else we can cover. I was going to make this a short show anyway. If anybody wants to call in and voice their displeasure with anything in sports, it doesn't have to be college football, be NFL, it could be your coach, it could be a player, it could be a ruling, it could be referees, it could be anything, but I'm going to give it a few minutes. Just a quick look ahead. What's the game of the week besides Florida, Tennessee? I know everybody in the country is going to have their eyes on that game, but any other games coming up? You've got Missouri. Who else is out
we
there?
got Missouri Georgia, Missouri playing at the game is at noon Eastern time, which is going to be 11 o'clock, a.m. out there, which is going to be interesting. You have Alabama and Texas A&M. Alabama's favored by like 26-27, and then you have the battle of the unbeatens, which the quiet unbeatens between Kentucky and Mississippi State. They're going to be playing at Kentucky. So some interesting games. Oh, and some possible teams that might be on an upset alert. South Carolina going to Vanderbilt. I think they're only favored by like -2, -1.5 or something. What do you think about these Carolina Gamecocks right now, Catfish?
I think I gave them too much credit at the beginning of the season. I thought they were going to be better. I'm not even so sure they're going to finish second in the East. Georgia dominated them. I haven't got to watch. I don't even think they really played anybody besides Georgia. So it's still kind of early to tell, what's for real and what's not. I'm not a believer in Bentley. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I watched some plays in the Georgia game, and he just didn't look like an elite SEC quarterback to me.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I guess that's all we're going to do today. Anything else you want to run down before we go? We're going to have don't forget, you can still buy tickets to go fishing with me and Neil Clabo. He played for University of Tennessee. He also played for the Minnesota Vikings, punted in Super Bowl 11. It's going to be during the Fishing for Soldiers tournament. I've been invited to go out there and get the crowd fired up. There's going to be 500 to 700 people there. It's an annual tournament they have every year. We had Jason McCormick on this past Friday talking about Fishing for Soldiers. You can still buy your tickets. Email me at volunteerroadshow@gmail.com. How many tickets you want. They're $5 a piece with a 2-ticket minimum. And we're going to do the drawing this Friday. So you can still go. The fishing trip is October 6th. That's a bye week for us Tennessee fans. So anyway, I guess that's all I've got. Go check me out on social media. Volunteer Roadshow Facebook page, and I believe I've got all my social media stuff down in the description. You can send me a friend's request, and I'll be sure to friend you right back. And y'all know what's coming next. Thanks for tuning in. Go Vols. We're going to a bowl game and beating Florida's butt this Saturday. I promise you that.